everybody. This
All
is the
right.
Dream Team. Yay! We're back.
Hello. Yes, we're here. We're here, and we're ready to teach you a lot more about Hollywood this time. Actually, that's what we're going to be teaching you about.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
Yes.
Hollywood, and also the greater Los Angeles as
Mm-hmm.
well. We got to
Exactly.
start with Los Angeles because Los Angeles came before Hollywood, and
Correct.
Hollywood is a municipality of
Mm-hmm.
Los Angeles. Although when it first started, it was its own city for just a few years.
True. And they were also going to be discussing about one of the early film pioneer stuntmen, Frank Stites. So basically, he's mentioned more in some of the Universal haunted things that they do during the Halloween season, but there's a little bit more to his story that needs to be discussed that we need to mention for you guys to know more a little about him.
Yeah, the man had a whole life. The
Sure did.
man had a whole life, and not a lot of people know about this person.
Correct.
Yeah, and this is one of those. This is one of those people that I think should be recognized more, and not just in the way that he's currently being recognized.
That's very true. I mean, he's underappreciated because a lot of it basically is unknown because unfortunately he has no living relatives at this point, and basically there's no one to carry on that family name at this point because the little bit of research that I found out about it and stuff like that, unfortunately that name died out unfortunately soon after he passed away basically. I mean,
Yeah,
his widow did remarry. He did have a son, but the thing is, the son married someone, but she had children from a previous marriage, and she and he did not have any children together, basically, at this point.
right.
So it is unfortunate, but like I said, the man needs more recognition that he received,
I
unfortunately.
agree, and we're going to try and give that to him within the next this episode and a few episodes down the line as well.
Of course. So we're going to start with the LA history, and basically we're going to start about its early days before it was known as Los Angeles, and then how it became into be known as the film industry.
Yes, and I mean, there's just a little real quick thing you need to know about California history. It starts off. California history has four stages. It's got its Native American stage. It's
Hmm.
got its Spanish stage, which is where all the missions were built and stuff like that. It's got its Mexican stage, where all the rancherias were created and all that. And then
Hmm.
it's got the current one, the United States era. And that one could be broken down by, like, 1850 to 1900, 1900 to 2000, 2000,
Sure.
all sorts of stuff. But so one of the things they have in common is a lot of the explorers, a lot of the original explorers who came uh, and discovered San Diego and San Francisco and whatnot, walked through Los Angeles,
Hmm.
not realizing that one day that was going to be a thriving city and,
Right.
and the center of the entertainment industry.
That's very true.
Yeah.
So who would have known that something would that started out as just basically as something in passing turned into a booming industry?
Yes. Yes. And it's, I mean, because, Hollywood also, it's not just about film. It
Correct.
started with film,
Hmm.
but of course, music, the music industry is
Right.
also situated in there. They have a huge building called Capitol Records
Hmm.
that is a symbol to the music industry because of where it's at. Uh, we have the fashion industry
Correct.
as well. I think most of that's like more international, but when it comes to here, it's in Los Angeles, it's in Hollywood.
That's true. And there's also the sports industry with the LA Lakers. There's also some of the football team. I
LA,
mean,
LA, LA
Chargers.
Chargers. We're
True.
from San Diego, by the way, so yeah,
But yeah, basically it's the sports basically I would feel like it's more basically the baseball and the basketball teams more than anything.
sure. But yeah, I mean, they have a lot of industries going, and most of them are in entertainment.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, and it's also like I like, when it comes to like Hollywood Boulevard and all that. It's been called the Boulevard of Broken Dreams because so many people have come to Hollywood with
Right.
a dream, only to fail or not go the way it was supposed to and whatnot. There's people that, of course, they succeed. They always succeed, but there's also, for everyone who succeeds, there's like 10 people who don't.
That's very true. I mean, there's people that came to LA, like some of these Canadian actors that we know, like Michael J. Fox is one of them, Jim Carrey,
Yes.
Michael Myers, and they were all Canadians who basically believed in the LA dream because unfortunately Canada is too small in the film industry in that regard. So
Right.
they wanted something bigger than themselves, so they migrated to the States and now they're well known throughout the
I would
world.
also throw in William Shatner.
Of course, he's another one as well.
Yes. He's 96 now. Anyway. All right.
Crazy.
Yeah. So what we're here to talk about today is basically the history of Los Angeles and its municipality.
Mhm.
So I guess we could start doing that right now.
All right, here we go.
Quote, on the following Sunday, the 8th of said month, they drew near to the mainland in a large bay which they called Baja de los Fumos because of the many smokes which they saw on it. Here, they held a colloquy with some Indians whom they captured in a canoe and who made signs that toward the north there were Spaniards like them. This bay is in 35 degrees and is a good port, and the country is good, with many valleys, plains, and groves. Unquote. This was the earliest known written description of Santa Monica Bay and its inland country, future Los Angeles, from the Journals of the Voyage of Juan Rodriguez Cabrillo, written October 8, 1542. Sebastian Vizcaino's voyage in 1602 doesn't mention much about the mainland of Los Angeles, as the ship decided to visit San Catalina Island instead. It didn't matter because Cabrillo had already claimed the land in the name of Spain back in 1542, so Spain ruled the area from the northern tip of Baja California northwards as Alta California or Upper California. By 1769, the Spanish military officer and the first governor of Los Californias, or Alta and Baja Californias together, was named Gaspar de Portola. He and Franciscan friar Juan Crespi were on an expedition from Laredo, Mexico to Alta California, looking for Monterey Bay, located near future San Francisco, California. They had already reached a barren San Diego, leaving mission president and friar Junipero Serra to set up the mission there, and by August 2nd, Portola had reached future Los Angeles, a more mountainous coastal region than San Diego, on their way to Monterey Bay. While there, they experienced earthquakes, tar fields, and met a number of villagers before continuing on their way to Monterey. 2 years later, in 1771, Friar Serra ordered the building of Mission San Gabriel Archangel near the area. 5 years later, in 1776, Spanish officer Corporal Jose Vicente Filez arrived in California with the Anza expedition, settling at Mission San Gabriel Archangel. In 1781, the fourth governor of Los Californias, Philip de Nieve, was tasked with establishing new settlements. For the site of one of these settlements, he chose a semi-flat coastal area with mountains to the north, about 120 miles north of San Diego, and about 9 miles southwest of Mission San Gabriel. For the settlers, Nieve chose 11 families totaling up to 44 people from Sinaloa to Sonora to settle the land. After a long trek, the settlers gathered at Mission San Gabriel, where they were joined by 2 priests and 4 soldiers as escorts. Together, they traveled to the location of the planned settlement. Officer Filez was one of the 4 soldiers appointed to guard the 44 settlers who founded what would be called El Pueblo de Nuestra Señora la Reina de Los Angeles, or the town of Our Lady, the Queen of the Angels. By 1787, he was appointed the first mayor of the Los Angeles Pueblo. In return for his services in 1795, he was given one of the earliest land grants made in California, a 6,647-acre property encompassing the foothills and mesa just a few short miles northwest of the Pueblo of Los Angeles was granted to Feliz by the Spanish governor Diego de Borica. This property was named Rancho Los Feliz. One of the more prominent features of Rancho Los Feliz was its Twin Peak mountain range, originally known as the Three Sisters. While the eastern peak of what is now called Mount Lee was left unnamed, the other two peaks were named Cahuenga and Burbank Peaks. By 1821, the Mexican government had successfully gained their independence from Spain, becoming its own sovereign nation rather than a viceroyalty. In December of 1831, the first of two battles were fought at Cahuenga Pass. It started off as a petition to an unpopular governor for democratic reforms. The governor responded by calling the petitioners traitors and ordering the execution of two of them. The petitioners went and took over Los Angeles. The governor led troops to drive them off. At Cahuenga Pass, the two forces didn't want to fight each other to the death, so after an initial standoff, they decided to have a lance-off. For the governor's side, Captain Jose Antonio Romaldo Pacheco would face off against Jose Maria Avila of the petitioners. After losing the lance-off, Avila shot Pacheco dead. The governor then shot Avila dead, and in response, the leader of the petitioners drove his lance into the governor's face, wounding him and ending the battle. The governor survived, but soon resigned. By 1843, over 20 years after Mexico gained its independence from Spain, the Rancho Los Feliz land grant was finally confirmed by the then Mexican governor to a descendant of Feliz. The second battle, the Battle of Providencia, fought in 1845 near present-day Burbank, California, was an early skirmish in the lead-up to the Mexican-American War. Occurring in Mexican-controlled Alta California, this clash, named for the nearby Providencia Ranch area, stemmed from tensions between American settlers and Californians over land and authority. Though less documented than other battles, it foreshadowed the larger conflict that would soon engulf the region. As the Mexican-American War began in 1846, fighting reached Southern California with the Battle of San Pascual on December 6, 1846, near modern Escondido. U.S. forces under General Stephen W. Kearny faced California Lancers led by Andreas Pico in a bloody, inconclusive encounter. This was followed by the Battle of Los Angeles, where U.S. troops initially occupied the city in 1846, but were expelled by a California uprising, only to reclaim it in January of 1847 after further skirmishes. The Southern California campaign ended with the Treaty of Cahuenga, signed on January 13, 1847 at Campo de Cahuenga near the Cahuenga Pass. Negotiated between John C. Fremont and Andreas Pico, the treaty saw the Californios surrender in exchange for amnesty and property rights, securing California for the United States. The Mexican-American War wasn't over officially, but for California, the fighting ended. After the Mexican-American War, California became part of the United States and was granted statehood in 1850. With the U.S. Congress passing the Land Act in 1851, the property had to be confirmed once again. A claim was filed to keep the land in 1852, which was finally granted in 1871. However, it seems as though the descendant of Feliz died before then because the land was sold to Antonio F. Cornell in 1863, who sold it to a man named James Lick. So from 1871 until his death in 1876, Lick owned the property. Then, a man named Griffith J. Griffith, who had gotten wealthy in the mining industry, purchased 4,071 acres of the land in 1882. In the spirit of philanthropy, Griffith donated 3,015 acres, about less than half of the original grant, to the city of Los Angeles in 1896 to be made into a permanent park. The city accepted, and in return named the 3,015-acre portion of Rancho Los Feliz Griffith Park. Harvey and Dieta Wilcox, two wealthy prohibitionists from Kansas, arrived in Los Angeles in 1883. There they gave birth to a son who would sadly die 19 months later. To console themselves, they would take horse rides through the Cahuenga Valley. During these rides, they discovered a small apricot and fig orchard just southwest of future Griffith Park. They decided to purchase it and some of the surrounding land, totaling up to 160 acres to grow fruit. Dieta had an acquaintance who had an estate in Illinois that was named Hollywood, and so that's what they decided to name the ranch. Later, a land developer named Hubert Johnstone Whitley came to Los Angeles and purchased 400 acres next to the ranch, with the intent of building a thriving suburb of Los Angeles. Whitley also decided to name his tract Hollywood. He asked the Wilcoxes to donate some land, which they did. By then, the fruit ranch was failing, and they were expecting a real estate boom. So in 1887, the Wilcoxes decided to subdivide the remaining property for sale. There is one narrative of how the land was named Hollywood that has become more of a legend than fact. In it, Whitley would have written about being on his way to the area for his honeymoon and encountering a Chinese man dragging a wagon full of wood with him. Whitley asked the man what he was doing, and the man simply responded, "I'm hauling wood," in a Chinese accent. Regardless of how the name came to be, Hollywood would be the name, and the land was quickly bought up. After Harvey Wilcox died in 1891, his wife Dieta remarried and would lead efforts in developing a city hall, library, police station, a school, and a park. Whitley would go on to build the Hollywood Hotel. The earliest known film to be shot in Los Angeles, not Hollywood, was an Edison film where filmographer Frederick Bletchenden and director James White filmed some traffic walking down South Spring Street, Los Angeles, in late 1897. Hollywood would be incorporated into a city in 1903, and one of the first things they did was ban the sale of alcohol. They went on to ban other things such as pool halls, bowling alleys, and movie theaters. In 1909, William Selig opened the very first Los Angeles film studio, but not in Hollywood. That was banned there. Instead, it opened in Edendale, and he had the entrance of the studio built to resemble what was now the old Mission San Gabriel. In the early years of Hollywood, however, the residents suffered from a water shortage. This led to a vote of annexation in 1910, which would incorporate the city of Hollywood into the city of Los Angeles. With incorporation came some changes. Hollywood's Main Street, Prospect Avenue, became Hollywood Boulevard, and the theater and alcohol ban was lifted. The same year Hollywood was annexed into Los Angeles, the Biograph Acting Company went to Los Angeles to film In Old California, based on the Helen Hunt Jackson novel. They liked the area so much because of its diverse nature that they decided to make a permanent studio there. David Wark Griffith, a director within the Biograph Company, decided to settle on the recently annexed Hollywood municipality. There, he made the film, the first film ever to be filmed in Hollywood. In Old California was different from the old South Spring Street Edison film because this film actually had a narrative. In Old California was a silent Western film about the days of Mexican California. After making a few more films, they traveled back to New York and talked about the diverse scenery of California, and specifically Hollywood. Later that year, he also filmed Ramona using California's vast landscape. Director Al Christie and producer David Horsley were two filmmakers from New Jersey who got tired of trying to make westerns there and decided to move to either Florida or California. At the flip of a coin, California was decided, and by 1911 they were standing on a brown dirt road in Hollywood called Sunset Boulevard. Discovering an abandoned roadhouse and barn, they opened their own studio, the Nestor Studio, which has the distinction of being the first studio to open in Hollywood. They made their first film there, The Law of the Range, and placed a help wanted ad in the Los Angeles Times looking for actors. Their success led to them joining Carl Laemmle's independent motion pictures company the following year. Michael Sennett worked for the Biograph company under the stage name Max Sennett, but by 1912, a lawsuit from the federal government against the MPPC would encourage many of the filmmakers of Biograph to go independent. That same year, Sennett would leave Biograph to found Keystone Studios. The films Keystone created were known for their slapstick comedy and Keystone Cops, incompetent officers who would clumsily chase the protagonists. Keystone would start the movie careers of people like Gloria Swanson, Roscoe Arbuckle, W.C. Fields, Bing Crosby, and Charlie Chaplin. In 1915, the MPPC was found guilty of breaking antitrust laws. Next time, we'll get into the fall of the MPPC.
Interesting.
But before we go into the fall of the MPPC, we're gonna actually have a few more episodes between now.
Yes.
Yes.
So what is this that you are sharing for us, my dear?
So okay. So we went through that pretty quick, but the idea is like, Los Angeles started off as this, this Catholic settlement.
Mm-hmm.
That consisted of, if I remember, they said 11 families totaling up to 44 people.
Right.
Yeah, and so those people started Los Angeles. So this is the original map that was created when they settled there.
Okay.
Yeah. This is, they have like the town square over here, and then they got like people's homes and some other buildings and whatnot. I think this has to do with like farmland or whatever.
Okay, so it gives you a rough idea of how the land would have laid out in individual plots, basically in this case.
Right. Like it names of one of the family. A would be like up here or something like that. Right. And then they would also, if their letter was there too, they also had a plot of land.
Right. I guess, and then the P, I guess, is the middle where like the chapel would have been or something like that in that kind of case.
Well, that's a town square. So you know how in Old Town we have a town square?
Yes.
That's kind of how they said it.
Okay, I get what you're saying. Gotcha.
Yeah. So and then I don't speak Spanish, unfortunately. So really.
True. I only know a little bit, but yeah, but I get the idea because basically the town square is basically everybody would congregate and meet for like town meetings or like.
Well, they would also have a town, like a building for meetings and stuff. But this would be a meeting spot for people. This would be a place where they would throw parties.
Sure.
They would entertain guests and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
Or if they just wanted to take a stroll around outside without going too far away, they could just walk around here. Kind of like what we do.
Sure. When the weather's not too unpleasant, we definitely do that for sure. I get that one.
Right. So that's the original map that they made way back in 1876.
Wow. Okay.
1786. I'm sorry, I messed up on that year.
Wow. So 250 years ago.
Yeah. Almost. We just did our 250. That was 1776. But yeah, this is 1786.
Okay.
240 years.
240. Okay, yeah, 240. Yes, you're right.
240. Yes.
Wow, then, that's quite an accomplishment when you think about it.
Like look at it now. It's grown so good. From this to basically a town square with like less than 50 people.
Yeah, and there's more than 50 plus people there now.
Right. And remember, one of those guys was a soldier who became the mayor. I think the first mayor of this town. And when he retired, they gave him that land that became Griffith Park.
That's pretty cool when you think about it. I myself actually have an ancestor who served during the Civil War. as a doctor, and one of his pension things was basically they gave him land as like his, like, like I said, his pension for what he had done as his service and stuff like that. So it reminds me of that in this case as well.
Right. Right. That makes sense. Yeah. And by the way, when Griffith Park has nothing to do with D.W. Griffith.
Right.
There's another Griffith that we'll have to talk about eventually.
That is crazy that these people have very similar sounding names or similar names, but they're no kin to each other whatsoever.
And this Griffith, I didn't put it into our thing, but this Griffith, the one that started Griffith Park, uh, when we looked up his Wikipedia, he had mugshots.
Wow.
Like he had been arrested before, and when I looked up
Oh.
why, he killed his wife.
Oh, okay. Finding the dirty laundry of Hollywood.
But anyway, so but that has nothing to do with like the film industry. But yeah,
But I appreciate you sharing that with us, my dear. I
so
mean,
so that's different from D.W. Griffith, who was the director. Um, this here
mhm.
is actually a city charter.
Okay.
It changes the. I have to pull up the text because I looked it up. Um, but yeah, it's from 1850
Wow.
became um, when the United States became part of the um, or no, when Los Angeles became part of the United States. So
Okay.
the idea is they remade their charter,
Hmm.
changing the Pueblo de Los Angeles to the city of Los Angeles.
Right.
Yeah, and so like so it's like I'm also doing like a wider history on this stuff. And so when so even though like they had California since about 1846, 1847,
Hmm.
it took them a couple of years to organize them all, and organize everything into the state.
Right.
And so they start off obviously with the state with Congress, who approves it.
Right.
And then the California state legislator, the brand new California state legislator,
Hmm.
creates a bill that creates counties
Okay.
and municipalities. Those
Interesting.
municipalities then create their own charters.
Wow.
Yeah, and then it goes down the line from there. But that's something I kind of learned was interesting.
That is interesting for sure.
Yeah, and I did have a translation. I don't know what happened to it.
Okay. Fair enough.
Yeah, but let me look one more thing here
Hmm.
and see if I got it here. Nope. Okay, I don't know what happened to it.
Fair enough.
So so this is the first map of Hollywood,
Right.
and this was done by Harvey Wilcox,
Hmm.
as I mentioned in the video, in 1887.
Wow.
And they had put their lands together, and they created this space here.
Hmm.
This road in the middle is Prospect Boulevard.
Wow.
Um, Now Prospect Boulevard is what turned into Hollywood Boulevard, or Prospect Avenue became Hollywood Boulevard
Okay.
when the city of Los Angeles became a municipality or when the city of Hollywood became a municipality for Los Angeles.
Okay.
You could see like it's represented here as it would have looked on the when you're looking from above.
Right. That's the three sisters that you were mentioning earlier too, I believe.
I believe it. So like the road would be here, but this looks more like the Three Sisters, and of course it goes over. I think it goes over like
Hmm.
this way in the freeway, and
That's
just on the other side of that is Universal.
that's
Um,
crazy when you think about
so
it.
so I think they messed up on the mountain a little bit,
Whoops.
but yeah, otherwise, yeah, this is, Santa Monica
Hmm.
is right here, this area,
Right.
and up here, somewhere up here, straight out of Compton.
Right. But that is
So this
crazy.
this is what it would look like. This is what it looks like today. So that map, if I can zoom it in like that, you could see like this little curve over here.
Yes.
Well, it's Yucca
Ah,
Street right here,
wow. Big contrast.
and then this is Hollywood Boulevard. That was Prospect Boulevard before. Yeah, so Cahuenga goes up
Wow.
goes up here, and eventually goes over the mountain.
Yeah, you can barely see the mountain now because there's so many city, inner cities that is within that now.
Right, right. Yeah. And so the other thing I also had, I was trying to look up some newspaper things, and so this one here I thought was interesting. It's from 1912, and in Los Angeles, the Universal Film Company, which takes moving pictures at East Hollywood, is
Hmm.
anxiously waiting for the arrival of two score of good old fashioned galvanized bathtubs. What this article is about is they brought a bunch of natives from Albuquerque and put them in facilities that didn't have any bathtubs,
Wow.
right? And so they were threatening to leave and go back to their villages where they can bathe properly if
Wow.
if they didn't provide them with bathtubs.
That is crazy.
Yeah, I thought that was interesting. Well, I mean, like, so this is before the Universal Studios we know
Right.
today. Before that, he actually had a Universal Studios in a different location in
Hmm.
Hollywood, but it wasn't big enough for his needs. So he
Right.
eventually bought something called the Taylor Ranch, and the Taylor Ranch is what becomes Universal Studios, the one you know of today.
Ah.
California, Florida was like way later in the 80s, 1980s.
Right. More like the mid 90s kind of thing.
Yeah, 90s actually. Yeah. So this here, so the other thing I was looking for when the Squaw Man came out, I had this feeling that there would be like newspaper articles about the Squaw Man,
Right.
uh, and I found absolutely no newspaper articles about the Squaw Man. In fact, I mean, like
Wow.
at least ones from Los Angeles. So that event went by without anyone really noticing.
Wow.
But the first I looked for the first instance of D.W. Griffith
Hmm.
and in a newspaper in for Los Angeles, and I found this. It's actually a review of the Klansman, aka Birth of a Nation.
Okay.
It was originally called the Klansman,
Right.
and
I do remember you
it's
mentioned
it's
that.
it's based off of a book called the Klansman. So, but yeah, so I didn't really get time to read this, but this is a review of it, and it says referring to them as precious. Okay, I'm not even going to read some of it. Yeah,
Yeah.
see, that's hot. Yeah,
Yeah, that's a little bit controversial, folks.
it's hard to tell. Of course, certainly, I felt that there were made to feel prejudice against those people. Some showed approval and applause when the hero refuses to shake hands with the mulatto politician, and they were roused to the point of clapping enthusiastically. Before the end of the pictures, whenever the Ku Klux Klan appeared, there was noticeable thing about
Oof.
the play, the success of the gratification of the. Oh my God, this is horrible.
Ooh.
Contrasted with the
Yikes.
face of elemental character, the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People are initiating measures and taking active steps to have the play suppressed. D.W. Griffith, producer, and Mr. Aitken, the owner of the films, have been summoned to appeal before the magistrate's court and prosecuted for maintaining a public nuisance.
Wow.
I did not know that.
That's crazy.
Mr. James W. Osborne, formerly Assistant District Attorney for the City of New York and one of the greatest trial lawyers in the metropolis, has been engaged to carry out this purpose. Wow.
That's
So like, I mean, there's a lot of people that think that the movie came and there was no backlash to it. There was a backlash
yeah.
to this film. Yeah, there was a lot of people that liked it, but then there was a lot of people that thought it was horrible.
Yeah. Here's the
and
proof of that.
as you could see, yeah, like this, this is actually criticizing. It seems like the movie. It seems like criticizing the racist aspects of the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, and as I said, I was. This is like a last minute thing we were looking for, and so I didn't get to read it, and I should have screened that anyway.
But yeah, that's definitely an interesting thing for sure. Thank you for sharing that with us.
I got one more thing if I can. Hold on. One more thing here, and I think I need to go to my. Yes, right here. Okay. So this is Lakershem Boulevard, and Coahuila is actually this road right here.
Okay.
Right now, over here is on this side is Universal Studios Hollywood. Right, this is Universal Studios Gate 5. This used to be their main gate actually, and and on the other side is Campo de Coahuila Park.
Okay.
And I'm gonna zoom in a little bit. Do you see this? You see these ruins?
I do.
And then there's an outline of the rest of it here. So this is the it's what's left of the Adobe building.
Oh.
That the Treaty of Coahuila was signed.
Wow.
That ended hostilities during the Mexican-American War in California.
Interesting.
At least for the Los Angeles portion.
Right.
Yeah. So yeah, that's something I wanted to show you. And as you can see, this is Universal Studios here.
Right. It's not the same as it once was. I mean.
Oh no, I showed you maps. I got to show you guys maps from before. I don't have them right now. I wish I could show them to you.
Right, but it's not the same place at all. I mean, it started out as a tiny little place, and now it's a booming industry.
Right. Yeah. And then here's Hollywood Boulevard, and then got Paramount Pictures over here. I think we're going to be going to Paramount Pictures soon.
Yes.
Yes. So that'll be interesting to show. And that's basically all I got to show about that.
Okay, well, thank you, my dear. So the next segment is about Frank Stice. Like I said, he's an underappreciated early film star who was a stuntman for Universal. And unfortunately, he didn't have a very happy end. But we're not going to discuss the end. But we're going to discuss about his life and discuss a little bit afterwards about him and his family, basically. So stay tuned for that one.
Yes.
The Self-Made Sky, The Forgotten Life of Frank Stice, The Accidental Pioneer. Picture the Southern California coastline in the year 1911. Thousands of people are standing on the sand of Venice Beach, shielding their eyes from the sun. They aren't looking at birds, they're looking at a man sitting in a fragile frame of a bamboo and piano wire, defying gravity over the breaking waves. His name was Frank Stice. Today he's often just a tragic footnote about a Hollywood movie set. But before that, he was the ultimate self-made man of the air. He didn't have an engineering degree or a flight instructor. He was just a regular guy who decided he belonged in the clouds. Today we're looking at the untold story of the farm boy who built his own wings and became the premier showman of the California skies. Indiana tragedy and a new horizon. Frank's life was rooted in the Dirt Spencer County, Indiana. He was born Francis Marion Stites in February of 1882 to George Washington and Nancy Stites. But the grit people later saw in Frank was forged early by tragedy. When Frank was just 5 years old, his father George passed away. Nancy was left to raise Frank and his three older brothers, Edward, John, and George Jr., on her own. Growing up in a household of boys without a father in the 1880s meant Frank learned the value of hard labor before he could even read. By his teens, he was a farmhand, living a life dedicated by the soil. But in 1903, the same year that the Wright brothers flew at Kitty Hawk, 21-year-old Frank decided to leave the family farm. He headed west to a booming promise of Los Angeles. He didn't go alone for long. His mother, Nancy, and his brothers eventually found him out to California, settling straight out of Compton. In 1905, Frank married Jessie Maud Nelson, a young woman whose parents had immigrated from Denmark and Germany. To support his new life, Frank worked as a, quote, sacker in the citrus industry. But Frank's obsession with flight was starting to take over. You can see it in his family life. When his son was born in 1911, the birth certificate initially listed him as Francis Jr., but Frank famously gave him a name that reflected his heroes, Curtiss Wright Stites. He was naming his child after two of the biggest rivals in aviation history, Glenn Curtiss and the Wright brothers. While working the citrus groves by day, Frank spent his nights in a workshop building his own aircraft from scratch. His first attempt in 1910 ended in splinters when the Santa Ana winds tore the plane apart by Dominguez Field. But Frank didn't quit. He studied Curtiss's designs, built a second plane, and by 1911 he was aviator license number 88, one of the few men on Earth who knew what the world looked like from 500 feet up. The Showman of Venice. By 1911, Frank was the star attraction at Abbott Kinney's Venice of America. Every Sunday at 2:30 p.m., Frank would wheel out his biplane, Pegasus, and take off right from the sand. He performed the loop-de-loops and spiral glides over the pleasure piers. For more spectators, Frank was the first human they had ever seen fly. But it was a brutal business. In 1912, a crash left Frank with a shattered arm. In those days, if you didn't fly, you didn't eat. His resilience became the stuff of legend. Just months later, with his arm still in a medical sling, he took a job flying over mail in Montana. He steered the plane with one hand and used his teeth to help drop airbags over the target. He lived on the edge of a stall every single day, the calm before the storm. By 1914, Frank had survived multiple crashes and was known as one of the most precise pilots in the country. That reputation caught the eye of a new neighbor, Hollywood. Universal Film Manufacturing Company needed pilots who could fly up for the camera. Frank moved his operations to their new backlot at Universal Studios. He was the peak of his career, a celebrated pioneer, a son who had brought his mother Nancy out to join him in the California sun, and a father to little Curtiss Wright. He had turned a dream built of scraps into a professional legacy. But in the spring of 1915, the movie started asking for bigger risk. On the morning of March 16th, Frank climbed into the cockpit of Pegasus for a massive coordinated explosion stunt on the Universal backlot. He adjusted his goggles, started the engine, and took off. It would be the final time Frank Stites would ever look down on Earth. The handoff. Frank Stites was a man of rare historical window, that brief magical era where the sky was still a mystery and every takeoff was a miracle. He built his own path to the clouds and proved exactly what a person could achieve with nothing but a little bit of wood, canvas, and courage. Wow, poor Frank. I mean, like I said, he's underappreciated in so many ways. I mean, so I actually found out that son's name was actually, they call him Jack Stites Caldwell and stuff like that. So he actually passed away in 1983, and he was born on let's see, it looks like September 15th, 1911, and then he died on April 13th, 1983 in Los Angeles. So he was born and he was raised in LA basically. And so basically the person that compiled the Frank Stites' website basically says that basically he married, but here's the thing: his own wedding day, the one that witnessed the wedding, sadly passed away while crossing the street, and that's really unfortunate. But so Frank's widow, she did remarry after Frank passed away, and so she remarried to a guy named Ira Elmer Caldwell, a taxi driver, on August 21st, 1916, in Riverside. And so she's buried in Whittier, California. And her father is the one that immigrated from Denmark. Her mother was the one that immigrated from Germany in that case. But like I said, his family actually is all buried near him in the LA area, except for his father. His father's still buried back in Kansas, but his mother is buried not too far away from her son is. And the two brothers are buried out here as well, I believe. Let's see. No, his brother, sorry. So his other brother is buried in Kansas as well. So, okay, so the father's buried in Indiana, and the mother is buried out here in California. And then his brother Edward died in 1953. He's buried in LA near the mom. And then his brother John is buried here in LA as well. So this is interesting. So the brother Edward died in February 26, 1953. A month later, on March 26, 1953, that same brother passed away. So basically, the family lost two brothers back to back. And then the other one, George Washington Jr., passed away a year prior in 1952. So that family had a rough life, unfortunately, losing their family.
Seems like it.
But yeah, those were actual real articles that I had found on this website about Frank Stites. So he actually used his airplane, the exterior of it, for a couple to actually get married outside of the airplane, which was kind of cool. And he had a lot of mishaps here and there, but I'm glad that Gemini, which is an AI program, can create the images of him with the mailbag incident. So I read about that one. I thought, you know what? This would be kind of cool. So I tried on different ones, and finally, Gemini came up with the image of him dropping the mailbag with his teeth and then steering the plane with his good arm because the other one had been shattered in the crash. But yeah, Frank unfortunately was had a very tragic end. I mean, you can look at the website, which is called frankstites.com, and basically it gives you every article that there is about him. Some of them, unfortunately, are a little bit indecipherable that you can't quite make it out very well. But the ones that you can find, they're really kind of cool. They're little fun little nuggets. You can find everything from his marriage license to his son's birth certificate, which we included in the video. You can even find his death certificate in there as well. I mean, that's a little bit more graphic, which I'm glad we did not include. But Frank had a very interesting career, as you can hear. I mean, he taught himself how to fly. I mean, I think of the
And he
other,
built his own planes.
yeah, it kind of reminds me of like Amelia Earhart, Bessie Coleman, a lot of these early film pioneers, basically, of the air. And without them, we wouldn't have the airlines that we have today. I mean, they paved the way in many ways. I mean, the Wright brothers, Curtis Wright, that I mentioned. I mean, all these people had a key to the story, and it just, like I said, one man is one of those hidden gems. I mean, I'm not trying to be silly when I say that. I mean, in all seriousness, that Frank, he was definitely a hidden gem because unfortunately his last and only film that he appeared in is lost. But
Yeah.
on the grand opening of Universal Studios, that basically he did take Carl Limley out for a flight and everything, but there was mishaps here and there.
Yeah, we'll talk about that later.
Yeah, but yeah, Frank Stites definitely an underappreciated pioneer.
I agree. And yeah, so and you know, the like his I mean, like the way they're kind of doing it now with his so Universal does this Halloween Horror Night stuff every year where they open up
Hmm.
they open up the back lot, they decorate it in Halloween, and they let the public in.
Yes.
And so they they have a skeleton with that has like a pilot's hat on.
Yes, I can actually share that with you guys actually, so you can see what it looks like, what they do from the Frank Site's website actually.
Yeah, and I'm not exactly happy with. Not exactly. I don't exactly think that's the right way to
See,
honor.
this is not the way to honor Frank. Honestly, it's not right. As you can see, they
Yeah,
made him a skeleton. It's like,
this is the Universal like employees who know about this, who are doing this, and
yeah,
I mean, I'm not here to like, you know,
right. No,
but
I get it. I mean, but yeah, right here, it's
I think there's a better. My point is, I think there's a better way to do it.
yes, exactly. I mean, that's the reason why for my particular segment, I didn't do a lot of AI like recreations and stuff. I basically did oil paintings based on his life and everything.
Yeah, and by the way, you just showed it. Frankstates.com. This is where we got it from. So I'm not gonna, pretend that we authenticated this,
No, 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 no. I mean, there's a lot of cool stuff in here. There's like about the farm where he was born.
but it's definitely like the most information about the man anywhere.
Yes. And there's also this book that the person that created this website, her name is Megan Anderson. And so basically it says a book about Frank Stites. Live or Die, I Fly, the story of Victorian millennial Frank Stites. So I'm going to definitely get a copy of this for sure.
That's cool. I like that Victorian millennial.
Yes. I mean, he was definitely an underappreciated guy. And like I said, we wanted to discuss him with you guys. And like I said, there's a section on here that I was reading off of the genealogy that tells you everything about his family. And then there's also pictures of his son when his son got married. This is his son right here with his wife and everything.
Yes. So yeah, whoever maintains this website, thanks.
So thank you, Megan. We appreciate that. I mean, you do a very good job. It was very, very helpful. We appreciate that for sure.
Yep.
I mean, like I said, there's a whole section on here, the articles. These are all the things you can find about Frank in here.
Hmm.
And as you can see, these are all in alphabetical order. And there's so many. I could not go through all of it. I
Yeah.
mean, there's a lot in here, really. I mean, there's everything from 1912 to 1914. There's a whole lot. And like I said, he's underappreciated in many, many ways. I mean, like I said, there's so many things. Like I said, this is the images of the farm of where he lived and stuff like that, because nobody owns the farm now. It's just basically deserted farmland at this point. These are pictures of his plains and stuff.
Hmm.
I mean, we try to do it as best as possible when we were creating our images for the story. But yeah,
Yeah. I think it's about that time.
I think so, my dear.
All right. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this episode. We covered Los Angeles, Hollywood, and Frank Stites today.
Yes, we did. And so our next one, which is episode 5, which is crazy. We've come a long way.
Yes.
So our next one is the fall of the NPC. And
Almost. Almost. Before we get to the fall of the MPPC, we got to talk about some other stuff.
yes, so we're going to be talking about William Fox and Carl Limley. And I will also be discussing the history of 3D. How you think 3D was always a modern day? Nope.
Yes,
It goes
exactly.
back a little bit further than you think.
All
All
right.
right.
So I'm Mart.
I'm Alicia.
Thanks for rolling with us, and we'll see you in the next reel.
Bye.